The chamber is supposed to be in what we call the north wing of Parliament. Some of you know the structure of Parliament. What you came through is called the south wing. We are actually under the south wing. The north wing is somewhere outside, and the north wing parking is on the other side. The north wing parking is supposed to be destroyed, and a new chamber that should be for posterity should be constructed there. Probably they will have in excess of 500 chairs or seats. That was phase one. Phase two is increasing of space on this building according to the original plans. And that is ongoing, likely to be completed either end of this month or sometime early next month. Then phase three will be the new chamber, which will take a couple of years. Now, I appreciate you have so many questions, but I cannot take them right now.
Teacher.
That is okay by the Deputy Speaker of Parliament.
Thank you, Peter. I would like to ask, I know it was constitutional and the reason behind it, but I found the replacement of the late Honorable Nevana with her sister and the replacement of the late Oromoid with a daughter, and then also wanting, the wife, the late Malinga, also wanting to come in. I don't at that as kind of being successional, making the leadership successional, and whereas probably you may have wanted to follow democracy and probably take on the majority vote from their districts or from their constituencies, which actually was sympathy votes. I wonder how effective you have found it to be, or how effective you think it is, and also whether it is constitutionally binding that when someone passes on and his people plead that they be replaced by their relatives, is there any logic to it?
Members of Parliament are going to start coming in preparation for the debating students, so just allow them to sit comfortably. Now, in relation to your question, is it constitutional? No, there is no provision in the Constitution that allows for succession. Is it logical? Sometimes it may be logical. But there is one word that you use that I will play on, the sympathy vote. Many of the parties want to win numbers, and they will find that at the point that there is still a sympathy vote, they will harp on that to ensure that they get somebody in. But then if a member comes in, the only way they can actually come in is through an election. So there is never an instance where somebody just replaces what we call a by-election. Now, if the people in a constituency determine that they want to choose somebody's mother, father, sister, brother, that is democracy. The person will come in. But of course, there is a certain filter. If they come to Parliament and they fail to live up to the standard, chances are play a documentary. Shortly, we shall be joined by the Deputy Speaker of Parliament.
The 126th Inter-Parliament Union Assembly argued that this approach is important given that parliaments are established to represent the interests of the public and to provide a national forum for public consideration.
My name is Stephen Tashobia, and this is my second term in Parliament. I chair the Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee in Parliament, and that is the committee responsible for scrutinizing laws and legislation before they are debated in Parliament. And we also exercise oversight function on the justice and law and order sector in the country on behalf of Parliament. My predecessor was mentioning her school. I can see the people from Gayaza around. My wife is an OG from Gayaza High School. And I also have a daughter in senior 2. I don't know whether we have some people from college school in this debate, because that's where I was myself. Makerere College School. So let me say that on behalf of members of Parliament, we are excited to welcome you to Parliament. We shall definitely benefit from the interaction we have had.
I represent Kabaramaido in Parliament. Oh, you're from Kabaramaido? Very good. Can you stand up? So here with you today in this debate. We come from Kabaramaido, the best fertile place in Uganda. This is my first time in Parliament. I'm a medical doctor by profession, politician by... I'm a student of politics, I should say. I'm not a politician, but I'm a student of politics. I'll tell you if there's time why I say I'm a student. I also chair the Parliamentary Committee on Health. So, just like my committee has told you what to do as Parliament, our committee specifically looks at the health sector. I should be informed if the big debater is arriving. Okay, thank you very much. Glad to be with you here, and feel free, feel confident. I have the platform to share with us this today. God bless.
Morning. Good morning. Good afternoon. Please sit.
Debaters here today. I am a little worried because the kind of questions that they asked this morning makes me wonder if the team of legislators can actually tackle it out with them. I'll ask Honorable Tashovia to kindly leave the student side and come and join the members of Parliament on this side. Honorable, I'm expecting Christ School, St. Leo's Chigove. Sorry, let me read this again. Mienga High School, Mengo Secondary School, Seroma Girls School, Ujinja Secondary School, Cleveland, Trinity College Nabingo, Nyakasura School, Rock High, Bishop Cypriana Boarding, Bishop Cypriana Day, Jinja College, Wanyange Girls Secondary School, Mary Hill High School, the best debaters that Uganda has this year. Now allow me to introduce Mr. Kenneth Ofolot, who is going to be our moderator for this session. He will explain what the rules are and then throw the challenge to members of Parliament as well as students. Thank you. Debaters, ladies and gentlemen, the members of Parliament are going to debate with you students on that the Parliament has done enough to support the youth, while the students will negate and will be on the side saying, actually, Parliament should do more students to come and take up their seats. Namagebe Josephine from Trinity College Napingo. Mercy Deogratius from St. Mary's Ethiopian Arua. Ayamo Agatha from Dorogao School. And Peter, who is going to be our timekeeper. So these are the rules. Every speaker is going to speak for 4 minutes.
Peter, you can come and take a seat beside where you can see very well. The first minute is protected time because you are introducing your speech. After that time, you'll be interrupted with points of information. So when you're the speaker on the floor, you are the one to allow or retrieve the point of information. If you feel it's okay for you to allow a point of information or a question from the student, you allow it. If you can go on with your speech, it's also allowed. Speaker comes from the student side, then the member of parliament, then the student, then the member of parliament, then the student. Some students ask questions from the audience. Peter will notify you after 1 minute by clapping once to let you know that you can actually start taking, let you know that you should stop taking points of information. And then at the end of the 4 minutes, he will clap twice or thrice, and you stop.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much, friends from Parliament and the students from various schools. My name again is Dr. Kenneth Mona. I chair the Parliamentary Committee on Health and a member of Parliament. I come from Goromaido. It's a great pleasure having you today here and sharing your views together as far as the motion today is concerned. And the motion, as it is read, that has Parliament done enough to help the youth? Mr. Speaker, I'm very aware that all of us here know what youth are. This is people within the age groups of 18 and 35 are defined in the Constitution of Uganda. And also, Mr. Speaker, I also want to bring your attention that actually the demographic data of Uganda shows that in the stratum, the majority, actually the biggest population in Uganda are the youth. So indeed, Uganda is a very young population, and the majority of human beings or people in Uganda are young people. In other words, by saying or questioning whether Parliament has done enough for the youth, is actually questioning as to whether the Parliament of Uganda has done enough for the people of Uganda. Our data shows that over 70% of Ugandans are actually below the age of 30. So in other words, Ugandans are majorly young people. So when you talk about what Parliament has done for the young people, we are actually directly questioning whether Parliament has done enough for the people of Uganda. So in other words, what Parliament does in its day-to-day work is entirely, by and large, by this to the young people or to the citizens of Uganda. Mr. Speaker, let me say that looking at the Professor of Parliament, particularly geared towards the young people, let's begin with looking at representation. It has not been from the time of independence that young people were represented in Parliament. But as I talk now, Mr. Speaker, in Parliament of Uganda, there are representatives of young people. We have members of Parliament who represent young people as an interest group. We have all regions of Uganda represented in Parliament as members of Parliament representing the youth. Not only regions, Mr. Speaker, we also have the National Youth Female Member of Parliament who represents all the youth young people of Uganda and its female. So, Mr. Speaker, this shows that actually the youth themselves are representing themselves in Parliament. And if to go by this, Mr. Speaker, I must say that the youth themselves are participating in legislating about themselves in Parliament. Mr. Speaker, not only about representation in Parliament, the young people are also represented in local councils. According to the Local Council Act, the council is made up of a number of representatives, including special groups, and young people are also represented in the councils, the local government councils, all over the country. So, Mr. Speaker, that this legislation is done through Parliament. It shows that Parliament has not forgotten about young people, and that Parliament has done a lot for the young people of this country. Mr. Speaker, the Parliament of Uganda is not blind to the concerns of young people. Inquiry, yes. True or false? Mr. Speaker, I want to say represented in Parliament by a member of Parliament who represents the young people.
And the 5 regions that are represented, do they prove that it is enough for the whole country, and yet you are having 112 districts?
Mr. Speaker, I wish we had an infinite space that we can have all this represented, or even villages and clans and families. I think we have the challenges and common interests in this region, and I hope this is this very good representation in Parliament. Mr. Speaker, let me also say that we are not blind about the concerns of the young people in Parliament. There have been almost every session of Parliament, Mr. Speaker, there are always issues of young people that are ably presented in Parliament, either through their members of... Oh, that's the timer! Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will be very grateful to continue.
Honorable Karuhanga, you're welcome. Honorable, we are debating a topic. Has the Parliament done enough to support the youth? And actually, the MPs are a family. And as you came, Honorable Kenneth Omona was telling us that actually the Parliament has done a lot to help the youth. We are going to hear from the side of the students that are debating on the negative side to come and respond to.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Students and parliamentarians, I greet you all. As the resolution states that, has the Parliament done enough for the youth? We stand here to say that it has really not done enough for the youth. First and foremost, Uganda's greatest asset is the youth. And if it's really the youth, around Uganda, 4,000 Ugandans enter the labor force, and the capacity of our economy is too low. And we see that the majority are not really getting employed in this sector. And we also see that 5 people are what represent the population of Uganda. Really, if these 5 people are representing the youths of Uganda, are they really doing their, as in, we vote them inside, but they are really not doing as our expectation. We see that they are really not supporting the youth as we expected. And let me venture on some of the few challenges the youth face. Unemployment in the country. 83% are unemployed and 63% are living under poverty. We see that unemployment in our country is too high amongst the youth, and the youths really are not really okay. Secondly, drug abuse due to the frustration because of unemployment. We see that there is most of the youths are doing drugs because of the unemployment rate in the country. Most youth, human trafficking adds insult to the injury. This is seen whereby most youths have engaged themselves in the internet to get sponsorship so that they can steal away the unemployment opportunity. But we see that instead of these other countries, like when someone has engaged herself in getting sponsorship from out and she's really not supported, instead these people end up selling them and using them for sexual enjoyment. We see that the government is really not helping the youth. We see most of the youth are carrying out sports betting for a living, and the government is supporting this. We see when they increase taxes in the sport betting, this is something that is illegal in the country. And if the youths are carrying out sports betting, really the government is not doing as expected. According to Professor Chi Kajubi's report of 1989, vocational schools should be introduced at parish level and sub-county levels. But we see that most of the youths are just trained. For example, like entrepreneurship teachers, they are training people to get jobs and have the skills, but they're not training people really how to get the money. First and foremost, they are the poor people in the country.
Speaker, the motion that is before us is very interesting. Representing the youth in Parliament is a wonderful opportunity, but it is also a challenging opportunity. Representing youth in Parliament is like dating. You know, when you see this pretty lady and you really like her, the first thing is you move closer and say hi. At first, she may look at you and say hi, and she looks the other side. Very uninteresting. Then you keep trying to engage in the conversation. And you could go, for instance, like, do you know, for instance, about global warming? And then she will be like, global warming? Yeah, then you can proceed and say, you are the very reason there is global warming. You are so hot. And then she will smile. And then probably by the time you leave, you have the phone number or the email address or WhatsApp number. Now, representing youth here in Parliament is also competitive. There are so many interests in this country, so many challenges affecting the elderly, the women, issues of health. So even us here, you keep trying. You try today and you push. In the first 1 year, you get the 25 billion for the youth capital venture fund that was put in the banks. You try again and say, no, there is unemployed, we are dissatisfied. And we are the board of resenting you. And they say, okay, there is a 250 billion for the youth livelihood program. And then you push further and say, now we want to propose a law whereby foreign companies don't come here with 100% of their employees from their own countries. So that when you walk to a hotel, you find the gate man, the cleaner, the sweeper, the receptionist, the fellows who work in the rooms are basically foreigners. And then they say, okay. So we keep engaging. But you see, Parliament also has, okay.
But I would like to dispute with you by saying that the youth should engage in activities. Yet it is the parliamentarians who are our leaders and who are supposed to be our models. They are the same parliamentarians who have been implicated in cases of corruption, in cases of bribery when they are coming to Parliament. So how are they going to model us to also push for further bills or to engage ourselves in different activities? Yet they are modeling the youth as almost a rotten generation. Thank you.
But you see, Parliament is also like, it's like a classroom. You have the best students, you have the most colorful in terms of sports, and you have the best dancers, you have the best academicians, but you also have the stubborn ones who cause strikes at times once in a while. And somehow the speaker accommodates all of us, and we move on. The most important thing is, do we lose track of the challenges facing the young people in this country? The population of this country, 78% of us are young people. So there is no politician, there is no leader whatsoever who can take a risk of ignoring 78% of his people, if not his, does that mean I should go?
We have heard all you've said, but my question is, much as you've represented, our motion today is, has the Parliament done enough? And we request for an answer. You have represented, but has the Parliament that you've told done enough for the youth?
When the lady is about to make that decision, whether he is actually the right fellow, she's probably saying, has he actually tried enough? Now, we keep trying. The first thing is, we don't sit back and say, I don't know, we can't do anything. No, we keep engaging. But one thing I must say, also us as young people in this country, we also have a role to play. Whether as leaders or not as leaders, because that's information. Yes, information.
Thank you. Parliament.
Yes.
You are then representing the Parliament.
Yes. The member of Parliament is going to come and really, I mean, well, we could pass a law, and I think one of the laws on that one is coming. But we have to engage each other and say, these are our laws, this is what we have. Now, as I conclude, at least the 9th Parliament, one thing it has done about the young people is the elevation of the estimation in the budget.
Foremost, when you talk about youth representation in Parliament, we don't mean that if we are having 100 people whom we need to cater for, we should have to represent them. How will the 2 people cater for the 100 people? So we should put up a number that will cater for the 100. So that if we say that if we are having 50 representatives and we are having 50 people who are in need, that means everyone will be catered for. Dear members of Parliament, I think you are with me. Next, when we talk about foreign companies, we thank you very much because you are also aware that we have foreign companies that are in Uganda and they have employed most of their fellow foreigners. And this is a clear example. If you look to the different companies, how dare you find a foreman being a foreigner? Even the people at the doorway who are at the reception, they are foreigners. That means the government has failed to put up laws that indeed cater for the youth. There are some things that the youths are supposed to have. For example, we know that the youth are leaving school, for example, the university, but they don't have what to do. Guess what? They are moving on streets. Why? Because the foreigners are coming to our country, and I'm surprised that it is only Uganda whereby foreigners have freedom as the owners of the country. So, dear members of Parliament, I think you got that one. And the reason as to why our country is being left behind is that as the foreigners increase in the country and the number of other foreigners who are taking up the simple jobs for the poor people, we are having what is called profit repatriation. When the foreigners get the money, they don't invest more in the country. What do? They take money back to their home places. So that is increasing the unemployment in our country. When you look at the number of people who are suffering in Uganda are the youth. Why? Because the government, and in particular the Parliament, has not done enough. This is a simple example. When you look at the different taxes that have been put up, for example, they say the graduated tax was removed. I'm surprised. It is there, dear members of Parliament, if you are informed, but it is in another form. Have you heard of the local government service tax? That is being put on the workers. And that means the graduated tax has been incorporated in some other form. That means the youths are being marginalized. And look at, they have been marginalized to an extent that most youth fail to participate in the different activities because you are not.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to seek clarification from you as to how a local service tax, which is supposed to be borne by somebody enjoying that service, how that service tax marginalizes the youth. I seek clarification from you, Mr. Speaker.
It's my youth, and I'm working in the civil service, and I'm being given an amount like, let's say, 500,000. Imagine deducting 250. What does that mean? And we are having pay as you are, we are having VAT. The same tax is being implemented on the youth. So what should we have? I think I've answered you. My dear members of Parliament, this is clear. We are having a theoretical system of education. You find that we are having people who are studying to be doctors, people are studying to be lawyers. They are remaining with the theory. Thank you.
Thank you for that great speech. We'd like to hear for a response from the side of the Honorable MPs.
Mr. Speaker, sir, ladies and gentlemen who are here, good afternoon to you all. William Zulu is my name. I represent the people of Seroma County North, Kasese, and I am happy this afternoon that I'm with students almost representing various regions, and I started this exercise when I was in the primary 4. When I was in primary 4 and they elected me as a debate organizer, in my acceptance speech, I said I must run for Member of Parliament for Seroma County North. And when I finished university, I ran for a constituency and I won it. I want to tell you students who are here that it is sometimes very painful that Parliament must be construed in a broader sense. Unfortunately, some people construe Parliament in a narrow sense. I want to quote for you that the youths that I've interacted with all over the country and in my constituency, your time is now and not tomorrow. But to the dismay of actually Ugandans, it is the youth MP, Honorable Evelyn Ntare, who moved a motion in January that Museveni must stand as sole candidate. So we members of Parliament who are actually youth but are not representing the youth, we say, what is this? Are this the youth representative? Is this the youth representative? What is this led up to? And here we are now saying, what has Parliament done? Whereas Parliament actually granted slots for the youth to be represented in Parliament, but some representatives of Parliament for the youth have actually not performed to the expectation of youth representatives.
Country are only supposed to be represented by the 5 representatives we have. Are you trying to tell us that you, as an MP who is not a youth representative, you have no say in the youth policies or in the youth problems?
Here is actually come to you that I'm part of you when even I'm not representing the youth in Parliament. Secondly, when we look at what the actions of some members who are representing the youth are doing, it annoys us, the youth who are not representing the youth.
Thank you, the Honorable Speaker. I have one question for you. Among the youth that you interact with all over the country, as you say, have you ever interacted with the youth that are in Kasese, that are butchering themselves over minor issues of monarchy, when actually they should be having jobs, working for their country, developing the economy? Thank you very much.
It must be construed in a broader sense. As I speak in my constituency, I have had to support 50 students who are youth in school in terms of scholarships.
Thank you, Honorable Member of Parliament.
Yes.
Are the 15 students or pupils
Students, members of Parliament, to interpret the law and put it in action, not merely putting laws which they can't interpret and which they can't implement. And as for myself, I have tried to make sure that I interpret the laws and put them into action in my constituency. That when it comes to members of Parliament, and especially the role of Parliament in trying to address the challenges of the youth, when we are given 5 million, when we have just come to this Parliament, during that time, when we were expecting on the anti-homosexuality bill, I want to assure you that the Member of Parliament who first returned the 5 million was a youth, but not representing the youth in parliament, and the youth and the rest of the people. And when I went back to my constituency, my constituents told me that which one we shall vote you until God comes.
Call me Master of Gracious. I would like to talk about what some of our... There are 380 members of parliament, and out of these, only 5 are representing the youth. Now, I want to ask a question to them. How are the 5 members going to represent a population of over 78% in this country? That question goes back to you, dear members of parliament. Without wasting time, allow me go to some of the challenges that the youth are facing in this country. I want to tell you that the youth in this country are really having problems in employment. There is a lot of unemployment in this country. A good government in this country, if you're really good people who are governing the country well, you have the right to give employment to every member in your country. But because you are not doing enough, and that's why we the youth are standing here telling you, you have not done enough, and you are not doing enough.
Information.
Allowed?
Thank you, Brother Paul, on the floor. The question I want to give you was that all these members of parliament, other than the 5 who represent the youth, actually represent the total population, which also include the youth.
I want to tell you that the total population actually includes the youth. Total percentage is 100, but out of 100, the youth takes 78. Why not the youth to take the what? Why not the representative of the youth to be 375 in the country, and then the other small percentage of the elders be for the 5 years? Okay, that's just a time again. There is drug abuse in this country. This is all because the youth are idle. They don't have what to do. The youth are really suffering in this country, and that's why they find themselves getting involved in betting, involved in the things that they're not supposed to do. The country they are here trying to tell us they're doing enough. My dear members of parliament, you are really not doing enough, because there is still a lot of drug abuse in this country. There is unemployment by the youth, and yes, allowed.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Another who are under 35 years. But however, on the 78%, there are also youths who are under 15, and the percentage is 29%. So do you want the government of Uganda to help these youths who are under 15 years to go on and participate in business other than that?
As long as they are able, the government must give them the job, because they are members of this country, and the government should stop involving other foreigners to come in the country here. I'm telling you, Bidco is a private company. The government has really, Bidco is owned in Uganda. And you find people who are not allowed. You find people who are working there. In fact, there are just people who are foreigners. Why can't we employ the youth? Why can't we let our youth work in this country? Why are we letting foreigners to benefit more in this country? By the way, our dear members of parliament, you have to know that this is the only country whereby foreigners enjoy more than the citizens. That must come to your table. There is no other country that I've heard of whereby foreigners enjoy more than the citizens, but it's only Uganda. Take for example, Sudan, South Sudan. Just recently on October, everyone who is a foreigner was sent away. Why can't we do that now? I'm really totally disagreeing with our dear members of parliament, and this is really hurting us, the youth. That's why we are saying the youth, the members of parliament have not done enough. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mercy. Now the youth seem to have a lot of problems, as you've heard. And since we're remaining with one person from the honorable desk, I would like to invite the right honorable. We have two? Oh yes, we have two. So we'd like to invite Honorable Tashomya to come and address the problems of the youth.
The answers to the issues that have been raised, but let me just address myself a few issues that have been raised in the short time that I have. That one, the youth are part and parcel of the people we represent. We represent the elderly, we represent the youth, we represent the old people. So when we are looking at the effectiveness of Parliament, at what Parliament has done in respect of its citizens, we must look at the general purpose in the country. Because if we are looking at, for example, if we are looking at the effectiveness and how the youth have benefited, you cannot look at the youth in terms of age. You must look at families, you must look at the people at home, and you must also look at the people who are not the youth. In Parliament, as my colleague has pointed out, one of our main responsibilities is to do appropriation. Appropriation is...
Point of information.
Yes, I have had.
What is it about?
Support people who have left school that says working capital.
How effective is it in Uganda, and what has the Parliament done to ensure that the youth are satisfied with its activities?
That's a very good question. But let me say that the work of Parliament, the work within the country is not only done by Parliament. There is what they call government. And the government is constituted of three arms: the Parliament, the judiciary, and the executive. The work of Parliament is to appropriate, but the implementation, they make sure that what we have appropriated actually does the job, is the work of the executive.
Information?
Yes, please.
Information is that you have said that Parliament's job is to appropriate. One wonders why you have not reviewed the syllabus and made it less theoretical. If you have over 20 subjects, we are soon going to be told how to exist as a subject. Why have they reviewed the budgetary allocations to ensure investment for the youth, such that the youth have jobs? Because at any one point in Uganda here, not having a job has also become a job in its own. Why have they in all activities addressed the issue of nail-biting poverty by funding, especially the women's circles, by reducing taxes on agricultural machinery, such that the people, especially the rural triangle, can run out of the poverty that is almost forcing them to become cannibals?
Mr. Moderator, because this one has to do skilling for the youth, so that the youth coming out of institutions, coming out of school, are able to prepare themselves. Number two, on the circles in Rwanda and so on. I'm not so sure that the speaker has also addressed himself on the matter of taxing of circles, because circles that are doing agriculture are not taxed. So I think that extent your information is not, yes, is not correct. But let me say that as we look at Parliament, as we look at government, the youth must also look at themselves. You cannot be at home, you cannot sleep at home and fold your hands. You must use your God-given capacities, use your head, your entrepreneurship, and then benefit from the programs. Yes, please. Yes.
Thank you, the Honorable Speaker. You talked about the youth being part and parcel of the entire population of Uganda. But you realize that the youth hold the biggest percentage of the country's population. Can you access to what extent have the activities of the government been effective and of importance to the youth in Uganda?
Very good. The point I was trying to make is that some of the programs benefit, yes, they benefit from electricity, they benefit from safe water, they benefit from good schools, because these programs, for example, good roads, they help us to market our products, And when we market our products and get money, we pay school fees. So these are programs that also help them. That's the point I was trying to make. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
David Otaka is a reporter for the New Vision. He wrote about a typical day of a youth in Uganda, and I would like us to share it. Rushongoza Derek is a youth of Uganda. He's 19 years old and a senior 6 Pakist. At 8:15 a.m., he goes to Cooper Complex, where there is a boating spot. He puts a bet of 5,000 on 4 teams. Now, when luck falls on him, he will go home with 450,000. However, if any of his teams loses, we will foot back to Kalere. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Segawa Ivan Sebastian. I'm from Bishop Cyprian Ntare, and I'm here to debate the resolution. Has Parliament done enough for the youth of Uganda? The parliamentarians here have come up and raised a few concerns, but we are saying the youth are suffering a problem of unemployment, and how has the Parliament addressed it, offer them a subsidized on taxing? Now, when these foreigners come in as, in this case of investors, what do? They go downtown Kampala today, and you will see that they open up the very businesses that Ugandans are opening up. In other words, they compete for the same market with Ugandans. However, we look at them having a subsidized tax, and they are at their better position to even perform successfully in the business. More to that, Shell and Bolton, Uganda this year advertised for a job for the administrative assistant for their Uganda office, and they boldly put it in the papers that the post was only open to a foreigner. I mean, they only wanted a foreigner to work in the Ugandan office. And today we have, not as yet please, and today we have this Parliament sitting back and giving such people privileges to do such in our country. More to that, we came up and said that when our youth today are unemployed, they get frustrated. Frustration will lead them to drug abuse. When they take drugs, they will they get so perverse, and then more to the causes of unemployment. We have another problem, is that when you're unemployed, you are actually, how can I term it? When you're unemployed, you are desperate. Now, the desperacy means that you're going to take on any desperate measure to serve your goal. This is where these people who come in disguise again of taking you out to employ you come in and actually traffic the youth of Uganda today. That's why today you see the youth, the young ladies of Uganda come back from Syria, from Saudi Arabia, and they are crying that they were taken out in disguise of working, but they were trafficked, sexually abused, and we have our Parliament sitting back and enjoying the news anchoring. More to that, not as yet please. More to that, we talked about poor education. We said our education system is more theoretical than practical. And they came here and told us the response they have for that is that they are allocating more money to the Ministry of Education. Thank you. Now, Professor Kajubi brought a report to the Parliament of Uganda in 1989, and he was requesting for making the education system more practical than theoretical. He did not say he changed the curriculum, no. He said at least let us have a vocational institution at every parish level. If we claim we do not have the resources to put it at parish level, at least let us put it at a sub-county level. Today in Uganda we have countable vocational institutions. Today in Uganda, like one of the speakers said, not having a job is a job itself, and we have the Parliament looking on and funding the education system. We also talked about the Parliament, and they came here and they said that they actually consensus to the fact that we are the majority. Let's take an estimation or what the census brought out that we are 34 million perhaps. Now, 78 against 34 is roughly, for the mathematicians, 26.52 million Ugandan. Thank you. In my conclusion, now if you're having 26.52 million Ugandan youths represented by just 5 people, and the other, I don't know, do they even make 10 represented by the other 300 and so? Is that practical? Do we have representation?
And equal representation in Parliament and others. I would like to take this opportunity to invite the last speaker, the right the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker of Parliament to come and give a summary of their speech and also to tackle these issues that the youth have brought up. And that will be the concluding speech for this debate.
Because this is now my speech to welcome you to Parliament as well, and also try and draw from the experiences from the debate I have listened to. The question I should be asking is this water enough for me? Can it be enough for me? But is this water, can this water be enough for all of you, this water? It can't. So the question of enough is a realistic question of quantity, of resource availability. It's not a dream statement. It's about what you have and how you use it. This bottle of water, much as it can satisfy me, Olanya, from Omoro County, properly, can never satisfy all of you if I try to give it to you. Would it be enough? No. If it is the only bottle of water I have, can you assess my performance on the basis of the amount of water I am able to supply you? If that is all I have. For enough to be enough, it must be enough. So this proposition hinges on the question of whether or how we treat the word enough. Now the word enough is also a question of responsibility. It's not just a question of the word you throw at people. Are you doing enough for yourself? Are we doing enough as parliamentarians? That's the question we should be asking. In the circumstances, we're not speaking in space. We are context specific about our discussion. In the circumstances, is Parliament doing enough? That is the question that we should provide answer for in our presentation. I have listened carefully to both sides, and I have not seen anybody trying to premise this debate on what the critical matter, what the critical question is. Because if you talk about Parliament, we know what Parliament is and what Parliament can do. The law, the Constitution is clearly stating these facts to all of us. If you're talking about the youth, you know what the youth is. The Constitution and laws of this country are clear about what the youth is, or who a youth is. The only thing that nobody is sure about is the word enough. No law says anything about that. No policy says anything about that. I cannot say anything about that, and you cannot say anything about that. This is the speaker speaking. So young people of this country, this topic should be a challenge to all of us. The Honorable Member stated the newspaper report talking about the life of a youth. The same newspapers reported about this high school student in Banda, in Chebando, who has a school, who is employing teachers. He is a student in senior 2, but he's employing teachers. It's called entrepreneurship. This problem is everybody else is responsible for your misfortunes, and you are not. We should get it over. The easiest way to get out of a problem is to blame somebody else for it. Are you doing enough for yourself? I'll give you my example, my own example. I paid school fees for myself. And when I was still a student, I educated 3 of my 1 brother and 2 sisters, myself. When I was still a student, what are you doing? things you are unable to do yourself, do it yourself. Don't look for anybody else to help you, because there's nobody else to help you. People are busy helping themselves. And if you are going to wait for somebody to show up and help you, then we have to go back to the Bible days of Joshua and all those people, where manna was dropping from heaven and everybody was happy but not one. In the book of Genesis, God was very clear. He said, from now on, you will eat from the sweat of your brow, not the sweat of my brow. Yours. So please, sweat and eat that sweat. And this business of we are young people, no, please, give me a break. We were all young people one time, and we never used to speak the way some young people speak these days. No, we did it. I was 14, I was 15, I was 16, just like you. But I can tell you, when I was 16, the kind of things I was doing, all of you combined cannot do it. Because for you, your minds have been structured in such a way that somebody else has to do things for you. Wrong. And wrong. So you finish this debate, go back home, go back to school, start thinking hard, and really think hard about what you can do for yourself before you ask what other people can do for you. So that you meet along the way. This is what I have done. Please help me with this. If you have to go to town and you want a lift, you don't stay in your bed. You come and stand by the roadside and start stopping vehicles that are. But if you stay in your bed, will anybody branch there to find you sleeping and say, please, there's a motorcycle here, let me take you to town? Meet Parliament along the way. And the issue of representation. We have 385 people sitting in this place. They're responsible for the laws of this country, for the policies of this country, for the budget of this country, and all the things that have to do with the welfare of the people of this country. And those include the youth. There is no, in my view, Honorable Beta, who is my MP for Blue District here, cannot say she only represents the old people. Cannot. But the youth have an additional advantage that many people don't have. They have double, triple representation. The women representatives represent them. The members of parliament represent them. Their own youth representatives represent them. Multiple representation for the youth. We should speak. Citizens of this country, we should know where we stand in terms of resources, and therefore be able to understand when certain things cannot happen the way we do. Teachers go on strike. Your own teachers cannot get enough salary. In this house, we have debated, we have adjourned, we have suspended budgets to see if we can find money for teachers. Because we care about the youth. Because we care about the students. Because we know that some of the teachers are not able to send their own children to the schools where they teach other people's children. We know that. The question is, there's only one bottle of water. How do we use it? So that everybody gets a drop in the town. And that little drop, which cannot chase away thirst, we call it satisfactory, because at least it has dropped of your tongue. Is it enough? Maybe not. But have you touched it? Yes, you have. That's all for now. So let's share what we have, let's work with what we have, let's try to create more about what we have. Unemployment. Do you know the total number of the people in the public service of this country? Plus the soldiers, the police, the prisons people, the teachers, everybody. There are 350,000. That's the slot you have. Public servants in this country are no more than 350,000. The whole country. Can 350,000 spaces, even if you fire all the existing public servants, can it take all the youth? No. Even if you are to retreat all the soldiers now and bring in new, there are only 60,000 soldiers. Would that be enough for the youth? No. It is this entrepreneurship which has now seemed to be in the hands of foreigners only that is trying to create some kind of thing, which you talk very bitterly about. The Indians in this country are about 0.02% of our population. But how much do they contribute to the national budget in terms of revenue? Tell me. And you are millions. How much are you contributing to the national budget? 0.00001. To whom much is given, much is expected. If they're giving you everything, appreciate it and know that this country expects you to do something to move it forward. I will come in Parliament. I've enjoyed your debate, but that debate lacked the critical question of taking responsibility for what we all must do as citizens of this country to move it forward so that we can all talk of enough. 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 Thank you.
Thank you so much. The right Honorable Speaker. The youth have brought up all their issues and we've had them. Right Honorable Speaker has mentioned, we as youth need to work so hard. We need to know what we must do to make sure that we work with Parliament, or we work with the MPs, or we work with our families, or we work with our friends to make sure that we all contribute towards the development of this country. One of the main aims of this debate is to help students articulate issues. It is to help you broaden your critical thinking so that you can think wide on solutions that you can embark on to solve the problems that you are facing. We know that everyone is facing problems and youth are facing problems, but we need to work together. You need to know what to do. You need to take action to make sure that you solve the problems that you are facing. I would also like to use this opportunity to appeal to the MPs to encourage and support schools from your constituencies to take part in this debate forum. For example, we have some regions.
I'm sorry, I really wanted to listen to the finals, your finals, but I'll be chairing the House from 2 o'clock. And by now, I should be looking at the papers which I'm going to use in the House, so that I am effective when I begin chairing the House. So I will not be with you this afternoon. I always enjoyed it. The past I've always been here, listening to the debates. But for this year, I think the programming has not been Seroma to be in my place, to observe in my place this afternoon. God bless you.
The right Honorable Speaker, with the power that I have right now. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to panel of judges, the affirmatives today, today's negatives, the audience, a very good afternoon. Resolved today, this House to abolish affirmative action. Dear judges, allow me to take you through the keywords in today's resolution. To abolish. To abolish is to officially end or scrap off a law, a system, or an institution. Affirmative action, the keyword in today's resolution. This is the practice or policy of making sure that a particular number of jobs, opportunities, etc. are given to people from groups that are often treated unfairly because of their race or sex. Dear judges, today we as the affirmatives lay our stand, and we believe that we acknowledge the fact that affirmative action has done great work and good achievement in Uganda. But dear judges, it's going to tend to trample or threaten its goals. It's trying to threaten the reasons why it was put up. Dear judges, why do we say so? We have seen affirmative action was put up to boost gender equality. But dear judges, quoting the words of Seroma Sumba, an LC5 community district, she says, there is no need for affirmative action now. I have this as evidence to show you. There is no need of affirmative action now. Women have been empowered and can now contest favorably against men. Dear judges, we believe that women have been empowered and we do not need to empower them more. We believe that we are going to trample and reverse trample against the goals as to why we put up affirmative action. That's why we as the affirmative stand strong today and believe we should abolish affirmative action. Affirmative action is girl child education and the 1.5 weight given to the girls as prior to entry to public universities. Dear judges, they also give the disabled representatives in parliament. And so, affirmative action in Uganda is existing. Dear judges, we as the affirmatives believe that there is need to abolish affirmative action. Dear judges, when affirmative action was being put into parliament, put into Uganda, the purpose of the Ugandan quota system, which is a form of affirmative action, was to bring women into positions where they would later be able to contest on equal footing as men. This system has largely worked out. The audience could bear me witness the lady that came and introduced herself, MP for Busia municipality, who contested with Agri Awori, someone who contested for presidency in 2006. This means that the system has largely worked out. Why should we keep it? That this means we are going to trample on the goals we wanted. Dear judges, I'll give you an example of Seroma Sumba. She was also once the Bugulu. I'll also give you an example of Winnie Byanyuma, Honorable Winnie Byanyuma, who contested with me for Barra Municipality Member of Parliament. And so it has worked out. We believe that it has achieved its goals and we can abolish it now. The percentage of which the female doing those humanities courses has ranged from 19% to 48%, more than 48%. Are we still looking for gender equality? We are going to trample on our goals. That's why we believe as affirmatives that affirmative action should be abolished. Also, dear judges, we have seen that disabled people compete favorably with the able-bodied people. I'll give you an example of MP Yaguma Utashoka, the MP for Kashari County, who competed with Apan Tivemanya, who was once a minister, and beat him. Dear judges, we see that we have empowered these people. Why shouldn't we consider, why shouldn't we run other things, maternal health care, and abolish affirmative action? It has achieved its goal, and so we should abolish it. Dear judges, affirmative side plans to table a bill in the 9th Parliament, the only house that has mandate to amend the Constitution, specifically Chapter 4, Article 32 in particular. The 9th Parliament is our house under the Right Honourable Speaker Rebecca Kadaga, which constitutes of 386 members of Parliament elected at the grassroots. Dear judges, this means that our house speaks for the multitude. And also, we have the mandate as the House to amend the Constitution, which puts affirmative action in place. Our parameters being Uganda, source of funding the Bank of Uganda, and our timeline is 1 year. Our implementers being the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social, the Ministry of Gender, and also Ministry of Education and Sports. Their judges also, the parliamentarians, are part of our implementers. Our benefits, my second speaker will clarify more about this, explain better. We shall promote equality, we shall create harmony and respect, and reduce the tension in families. Dear judges, we are also going to bring about fair grounds of competition. With these points, dear judges, I rest my case.
are women competing on equal footing with men? Yes, they are. You talked of Seroma School. How many LOC5 women that are women do you have in Uganda? We have only 2 women LOC5, that's Seroma School and the one of Bukunji. Why was affirmative action put in place?
To put women in equal footing.
Has it achieved its best?
Yes, it has.
To what extent?
I'll give you an example. We have the EAD speaker. We have the
Thank you
speaker
so much.
Parliament.
Is the Speaker of Parliament?
Women have been empowered.
Is the Speaker of Parliament and Nsdc equal to the majority of the women living in the rural areas?
What was the point of affirmative action?
Thank you so much. You know, when you empower a woman, you're empowering the whole family because it gives birth to a man and a girl.
And they've been empowered.
Thank you so much. If they've been empowered, account for the 300,000 teenager pregnancies we have in Uganda.
Relate those pregnancies to affirmative
action. Should we let those girls lose school because it has achieved enough?
It has achieved.
Do you think it's only the role of the men to work and leave women at home?
It's all about empowering women.
Thank you. You know, if we empower women, yes, we are going to achieve the development in Uganda.
We have empowered them. We have seen the development.
Thank you so much. When you have the Speaker, Rebecca Kadaga, in Parliament, yes, what has he done to the woman, or to the majority of the women living in deep, living in deep soil? I don't know. Yeah, he cannot account for the majority of the women who are in those areas. Thank you so much. Then we got to be empowering mothers to have majority of schools.
No, we do not need it.
Thank you so much.
With
the questions I've asked, I've gotten what I want. I love your speech so much.
So as I told you, when the room goes silent, it means one of the teams has asked for break time. So after every speech, if the team needs some break time to prepare the next speech, that is what they do. For the debaters, when you're cross-examining yourselves, please could you stand at this side of the podium?
Dear judges, allow me to begin on a very serious note to demolish the affirmative case. 1. I'll begin by challenging the legality of the affirmative team to abolish affirmative action this afternoon in this house. Our dear judges, with me I have the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda in my hands. The affirmative team is seeking to abolish. They have told to differentiate between abolishing and amending. Abolishing is to officially end a law, and amending is to modify a law to suit the demands of a society. Our dear judges, affirmative action was provided for in the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda of 1985. And furthermore, affirmative action is a constitutional freedom. It is a right, and it is actually stipulated in Chapter 32, Clause 1, which states that notwithstanding anything in this Constitution, the state shall take affirmative action in favor of marginalized groups based on gender, age, disability, or any other reason related by history, tradition, or custom. Furthermore, our dear judges, Article 33, Clause 1 says, women shall be accorded the full and equal dignity of the person with men. I will furthermore prove to you, our dear judges, that what the affirmatives are pushing for is null and void because they do not have the constitutional legality to abolish affirmative action. Affirmative action is a fundamental and a human right. Fundamental human rights and freedoms of the individual are inherent and not wanted by the state. Nothing in this article shall prevent Parliament from enacting laws that are necessary for implementing policies and programs aimed at addressing social, economic, educational, or any other imbalance in society. Our dear judges, they do not have the constitutional mandate to abolish a law. The resolution says very clear that this House would abolish affirmative action, and they have fully affirmed it. Therefore, their plan is null and void because they do not have that constitutional mandate. What are they saying? That currently we have that affirmative action has achieved its objectives. Our dear judges, this is an illusion. Let us look at the 16 mothers who are dying per day in hospitals due to maternal mortality rate. Has affirmative action achieved its state objectives? Again, judges, furthermore, let us look at the imbalance in the education sector, reflected in the number of students who join tertiary institutions. I have statistical evidence, again, judges, to this. According to the Ministry of Education report of 2013, it says that the students who are joining tertiary institutions, boys are 10,831. Girls are 7,873 with a gap of 22,093. And their judges, this is a clear indication that we do not have yet affirmative action achieving its set objectives. Because in spite of the fact that we have 1.5 for the girls, boys are still dominating them. Where is affirmative action? Has it achieved its set objectives? Why should it be abolished? We still need affirmative action because the woman in this nation has not been fully empowered. Again, judges, we have statistical evidence showing that 80% of Uganda's population live in rural areas. And the majority of these are women who are in poverty. They are talking of the Kadaga, they are talking of other women who have been employed, a few elites in society. What of the rural women who have not been economically empowered? We are looking at domestic violence being at 68%. And their judges has affirmative action achieved its objective when women are still being battered by men. And their judges, we still need affirmative action more than ever before. There is no reason whatsoever for the abolishment of affirmative action. We need to strengthen it, push for it, and make sure that affirmative action is pushed for, because we need to empower the women, the mothers of this nation. Because if we empower the mothers of this nation, then we shall have empowered the future of this country. Affirmative action. Based on Article 32 Clause 1, we shall rally our support behind efforts supporting affirmative action. We shall maintain the current women representatives in Parliament and at all levels of governance in terms of affirmative action. Through the Ministry of Finance, we're going to advocate for more allocation of funds to women representatives in Parliament because they are being given the same amount of money that is being given to constituent MPs, which means that if they don't have enough money to empower rural women, their funding should be increased, especially the constituency development fund. Our dear judges, furthermore, through the Ministry of Finance, we are going to strengthen the already existing women circles and make sure that they are used properly to empower women at rural areas. We have stopped from negative speaker to welcome and it depends on what you
do. You think there is regional imbalance in Uganda? Answer my question. Do you think or don't you think?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Dear judges, please take note. Now, do you believe that women and men are equal?
Well, it
do
depends.
You believe or don't you believe?
It depends on the opportunities given to them.
No, do you believe men and women are equal?
It depends on the opportunities given to each party.
Please don't judge my
If
question.
they do not have the same opportunities, they cannot be equal.
Okay, another question. Do you think affirmative action has achieved its objective?
It has not yet fully achieved its objective. That's what I'm pushing for.
To me that affirmative action has not.
I have shown you here that domestic violence is at 68.
Are you aware?
Are you
aware?
I am not aware of that.
You're not aware. Please.
Yes.
No, the boys get 1.5 weights at HSC.
They do not get it.
They do not get it. Thank you very much. Now, looking at that, is that equality? Are you favoring a group of?
I have already shown you that the number of boys going to university is higher than those of us.
Dear judges, please take note of that. Now, you talked about grassroots. I'm quoting you right. Yes. What do you mean when you talk about grassroots?
Empowering the rural women, those women that are in rural villages.
What shows that they have not been empowered?
I have told you that 80% of Uganda's population are in rural areas. The majority are women in poverty.
Alright, now what resources do men get that women don't get? Don't judge my question, please. Don't judge my question. Specify the resources that men access and women don't.
I have given you.
Specify the resources, please.
Allow me answer your question.
Specify.
Will you allow me answer your question?
Straight away.
Rural women are still in massive poverty.
Given the relevant to resources.
Yes.
Which resources
it is
do
relevant
women access that men
because
access?
If they were able to access those resources, they would not be in massive poverty.
Which resources?
Resources that the rural women have
not
access.
No, it's affirmative action alone. If I may ask you, it's affirmative action alone.
Yes, it is a law in the Constitution.
According to the Constitution.
Yes.
Now, another question. Specify marginalized group in Uganda, apart from women, whom you have talked about? Prove that they are marginalized.
The persons with disabilities.
Thank you very much. Now, talking about affirmative action, do you think it has done, what are the benefits of affirmative action, as you have not stated?
The benefits of affirmative action are very minimal and not what being stated here.
Minimal. They are not what being stated.
Yes.
These judges, take note of that, and for that matter, I rest my case.
The resolution is clear. This House would abolish affirmative action. The judges were going to abolish affirmative action. But we're debating people who do not know what they're coming here to do. The judges. They do not define their terms. They have no need. They do not have parameters. They have no timeline. They have nothing, dear judges. What are they doing here, dear judges? Dear judges, I'll first of all show you the need for the abolition of affirmative action. First of all, it has created a public space reserved for women, dear judges. Women are, actually ladies are given 1.5 weight on enrollment to public universities, dear judges. Now, are they so special? The boys are there. Let me give an example. A girl studies from Namagunga. Namagunga has the best resources, Nabingo. Now, a boy studies from Lira. Lira has no resources at all. And a girl from Namagunga is given 1.5. A boy struggles the other side, and we still give them 1.5. Is that relevant? It's not at all, dear judges. Then, I would like to give you some statistics according to our proof there, over there. According to Professor Victoria Mwaka, a leading activist of the Makerere Women's Gender and Studies Development, she said women enrollment to public universities has increased from 19 to more than 48%. I'll stress more than 48%. More than 48% can even mean 90, can mean 60. Is this gender balance? If they're getting to 60% and men are getting to 40, is that gender balance? Yet this was the sole cause of the affirmative action. They did not define affirmative action. It was the sole cause. Affirmative action was introduced in 1995 by President Museveni so that women, the marginalized groups, would come to an equal footing, to a space where they could compete favorably. They have reached there. We've seen now the Speaker of Parliament, the Minister of Education. Are you saying affirmative action has actually done nothing? Dear judges, I would like to first of all rebuild our case. They said affirmative action has done nothing. Actually, affirmative action has nothing to do with teenage pregnancy. It has completely nothing to do with it. They talk about abolition and amending. According to the 8th edition of the Oxford, amending means to remove, to change, or to adjust something. That means remove means abolition. You've not understood this. Maybe you don't have a dictionary or something. They do not, actually, they talk about domestic violence. I would like to give you some proof. Robin Kiinji, she was a lawyer. She was massacred by her husband because she was actually a very prominent lawyer. So she thought she was above everyone. She thought she was the best. So she thought she was above the men. Women actually going far more. That's why the man killed her, because the affirmative action is actually taking them to a better level. This is not true. They're actually promoting domestic violence. They have no finding. They're going to do nothing. I would like, first of all, the evidence is actually, that they don't tell us the source of the evidence. With newspapers, they have editorial bias. Every newspaper, actually newspapers have been commended to have the most editorial bias. We don't buy this, we don't buy the evidence at all. Chapter 32 of the Constitution allows us, we're going to amend it actually. We have all rights to amend it, and amending can mean to remove, to adjust, or to change. I don't think you understand that. Then, they tell us about statistics of 2003. We're getting 2015, this is December. We're getting 2015, I talk about 2013. Is that relevant at all? They don't have parameters. Where are they going to work within? They have no parameters at all. They actually come and contradict themselves during cross-examination. They ask one of them, could you give us benefits of affirmative action? He says the benefits are so minimal and they should actually, they should not be recognized. Then why should we promote it? He says they are so minimal. Why should we? It has not helped us in any way. But if it has reached its epitome. We've seen the Speaker of the Parliament, the Speaker of the East African Legislative Assembly, the IGG, the clerk. It has helped us. It has reached its epitome. Let's chop it. Let's leave it there. Because we've reached what we want our judges. First of all, the marginalized groups have actually gotten to a level where we can really commend them. The disabled, we have an organization called UNICEF, Uganda National Institute of Special Needs and Education. These people have actually been able to come up to judges. I'll also go on to show you, for example, our MP, the Minister of Parliament for Kashari, our Honorable Yaguma, Rakashuka is a disabled man. He stood against a well-bodied man, and won him. That means that disabled have actually also got to a level where they can represent us. So that's actually not imbalanced. We don't need affirmative action at all. They also, actually, judges, if we continue at this rate, all the marginalized groups are going to go ahead and regional, and the imbalance is just going to come around. Actually, what we're going to do, we're going to remove the 1.5 points for girls, take them to the disabled places so that we give them to those people, either boys or girls, we're not biased, so that they can also come up. Judges, we cannot actually help someone out of the mud and actually still help them while they continue, while they get out. Definitely, affirmative action has reached its epitome. It will not help us. They say it has no benefits, and judges, we're going to abolish it. Thank you. It means to change, to adjust, or to remove.
Thank you. What are you advocating for now? What are you advocating for now?
We're advocating for the abolition of affirmative action.
What is the difference between abolishing and amending?
Amending means to abolish, end, or terminate something, or change it.
What is the difference between amending and abolishing?
Amending combines all of them.
Thank you so much.
Equality, the Speaker of Parliament, the Speaker of the Establishment.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Compare the percentage of the number of male MPs to that of female MPs in Parliament currently.
I will show you the audience. Women.
Compare.
They're holding more.
The percentage of male representatives in Parliament.
They're holding more influential places.
You cannot compare. Thank you so much. Thank you. I've given my answer. Are teenagers who become pregnant part of the women in this country?
That's not affirmative action.
Are they part?
It does not relate to affirmative action.
Are they part?
It does not relate to affirmative action.
Thank you so much. They are mothers of this country.
They do not relate to affirmative action.
Account for the imbalances in the numbers of males joining tertiary institutions to that of girls if affirmative action needs to be abolished.
I provided proof to the judges. A consultant at the Macquarie University stated that enrollment
account for the imbalances between the number of males joining tertiary institutions to that of female if affirmative action needs to be abolished.
Of women has increased from 19 to 48%.
Thank you so much for shooting yourself to the feet. Account for the maternal mortality rate at 16 mothers dying per day.
Action, you're off the top.
Are mothers women?
We're talking about affirmative
Are mothers women?
You know affirmative action.
Is affirmative action in the favor of women or men?
You know affirmative action.
It is me asking you, please. Answer my question.
You should first of all.
Thank you so much. You cannot tell. Leave it. Are rural women fully empowered?
Definitely they're empowered.
How are they empowered?
We've seen LCs, you actually mentioned some of them. You also know they're empowered. You also know they're empowered.
Do not say I mentioned. What did I mention?
Okay, let me explain to you. Let me explain to you. In rural areas, there are circles. Women are being involved in circles. They've gotten empowered. Women in my own, where I come from, they've been empowered. They're able to reach a very good.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You cannot realize that we have majority of the rural women living in massive poverty because they're not economically empowered. I am telling you what they wanted. Listen. Which article of the Constitution mandates you to abolish affirmative action?
Abolish affirmative action. Dear judges, allow me first continue from where my colleague had stopped, basing on Article 32, Clause 1 of the Constitution. Dear judges, Article 32, Clause 1 of the Constitution says, notwithstanding anything in this Constitution, the state shall take affirmative action in favor of groups marginalized on basis of gender, age, disability, or any other reason created by history, tradition, or custom for the purpose of addressing imbalances which existed against them. Evidence. Rally our support, being every effort supporting affirmative action. By maintaining the current women representation in Parliament and at all levels of governance and all other forms of affirmative action. Through the Ministry of Finance, we shall advocate for allocation of more funds to women MPs, since they are currently being given the same amount as that of the constituency MPs. Furthermore, through the Ministry of Finance, we shall strengthen the already existing women's circles and even those in urban centers to empower them economically to curb poverty, which is at 67%. We shall even economically empower the men, hence reducing gender-based violence, which is at 68%, majorly as a result of poverty. Benefits. Promote and uphold affirmative action, curb high levels of unemployment, promote gender equality, curb domestic violence, foster socio-economic transformation. Our time is 3 years. The first year we have sensitization, the second year we have implementation, and the third year we have evaluation of the outcomes. Judges, allow me first go back to the rebuttal. The affirmatives, they were asked to account for the number of women who are dying in hospitals per day. See 16 maternal mortality rates in hospitals per day, dear judges. And what are they saying? They are saying that this is not in any way related to affirmative action, of which the Constitution states it clearly that affirmative action shall be in favor of marginalized groups, women inclusive, dear judges. If they are not going together for the women, then where is this country heading to, of which you are saying that they are mothers of the nation? And 7% of the land out of 100% is owned by women, meaning women are being overexploited, yet they are providing 81.1% labor in the agriculture sector. Predominantly unemployed, dear judges. What are we advocating for? We are advocating for the uplift of the women at the grassroots, dear judges, to empower them, to help them to be the best, dear judges. This is what we are advocating for. They are only helping the elite class. What are they doing? They are amazing about the Rebecca Kadaga. Oh, dear judges, how is Rebecca Kadaga connected to the woman who is dying in villages? How is Rebecca Kadaga connected to the woman who is a single mother? A woman who has failed to raise her kids just because the husband is a drunkard. What are we advocating for? We're advocating for raising the women, dear judges, putting them to some extent. They are saying that affirmative actions has achieved its objectives, and so it has to be chopped off, dear judges. If we are to abolish affirmative action, then that means even the lady that is standing before you right now is to be abolished. That means even all ladies are going to lose their voice in society. What are they advocating for, dear judges? When a person says what they are saying, we call them fallacies. And when he does such, the whole village assembles and they cane sense into them. But in this case, we are not going to do this. I'm only giving them a favor of telling them affirmative action.
Are women in Uganda competent currently?
Some women are competent, of which others still are supposed to be empowered.
So the most are competent?
Not the most, the elite class, the chosen few are capable. But those are the villages have not yet been empowered.
Are there any cases of domestic violence associated with income inequality in marriage?
That's what we are fighting.
That is what you're fighting. Judges, please take note of that also. You talked of empowering the men, did you?
Pardon?
You talked of empowering the men.
Mm-hmm.
You did?
Yeah.
Judges, take note of that. Is there a regional imbalance in Uganda?
Dear judges, the only blessing of regional imbalance, not knowing that the better imbalance we're having in Uganda is between men and women. Who does not know that? The better imbalance we are seeing is between men and women.
Fine. What has affirmative action done to reduce the 16 mothers that died as you speak?
That's why we are saying it still has to be effective. Just because it has not yet achieved its objective up to our expectation.
It is not effective. Yes?
So if it's going to be abolished, what are you advocating for? What's your plan?
Are women empowered in Uganda?
Some women are empowered, as I said, but others still need to be empowered, and they are being empowered. Pardon? Salam Musumba is one out of the 1,000 women in Uganda, and how will you see it home?
Who have come here claiming to have a better land than ours. quoting them what they said, the Uganda Bureau of Statistics. Dear judges, we do not understand whether such a house exists in Uganda. For all we know, dear judges, we are only interested in our house of the 9th Parliament to abolish affirmative action as we have stated in our plan and implementation strategy. Dear judges, in the post-course examination, the honorable negators came and said that their benefits are so minimal and they are not worth mentioning. This implies that either their benefits are really minimal, they have nothing constructive to offer to Uganda, or they are totally catastrophic, so they fear mentioning them before this. Dear judges, what are we talking about? People who have benefits that are not worth mentioning. Are these the people we are going to trust? We do not think so, dear judges. Please, we ask that you vote our side. Then they come here and talk about maternal mortality rate being connected to affirmative action. This is totally irrelevant. The mortality rate comes about as a result of birth complications and such things. We do not know how affirmative action has prevented or is going to prevent mortality rates. This is fact. It cannot be controlled, dear judges. Then they come talking about affirmative action, trying to put an end to maternal mortality rate. Totally irrelevant, totally illogical, dear judges. We do not understand this. Now they come and talk about having women in Parliament, equal number of women and men in Parliament is the best thing for gender equality in Uganda. They say that the Speaker of Parliament is not relevant to the many women that are in Uganda. When they ask whether whether women in Uganda are ready to become the president, they say yes, which means if we select that Toronto, any woman in Uganda can become a president. What does this mean, dear judges? Every woman is empowered, which is a contradiction. They are saying that women are not empowered. If women, we are not talking about a specific woman, women can become the president of Uganda. Any of the women can become, implying that women are empowered. Dear judges, also to prove that women are empowered, in the local society where they are saying that women are poor, you have seen women open up financial institutions. Before, dear judges, offices of the women were the kitchen, the bedroom, and the garden. Dear judges, currently, the Speaker of the Ugandan Parliament, the 9th Parliament, is a lady. What does this mean? Women are empowered. Before, as we have said, it was the kitchen, the garden, and the bedroom. Now we are seeing them in offices, positions of influence, in politics, in the economy, in society. Women are empowered, we insist. They talk about their time like being 3 years, dear judges. Now if it's 3 years, this implies that with the House being the 9th Parliament, they are going to implement this in 3 years. We are going to have elections in 1 year. What does this mean? It's going to leave out 2 years for them to implement the strategy, and we'll have changed from the 9th Parliament to what? I leave that to you to decide. Dear judges, they are saying that affirmative action is going to benefit men, quoting from the second cross-examination. Dear judges, what does this mean? The rift they are saying that it already exists between men and women is going to be increase their own words judge them, dear judges. Their own words judge them. They say that there is a rift between men and women. Now they are going to benefit men. Women are left behind. What is that? Is that bringing gender equality as they claim, or widening the rift if men are going to benefit and women are not going to? Anyway, if they insist that women are going to benefit, that's already a contradiction, dear judges. Their words have trapped. We do not understand what they are up to. Dear judges, must we believe people who claim that their plan has minimal benefits, and so for that matter, it does not have anything, like they are not worth to be mentioned? We do not think so. Dear judges, let me clarify what we stand for. We have not said that we are going to remove women as they have claimed. We have said we are going to remove affirmative action. Why? Women and men, all the marginalized people who in the past have been claimed to be at a less footing than the men, or able-bodied people, are now at an equal footing. We have produced proof disabled people, women competing with men and defeating them. What does this imply, dear judges? There is already an equal footing. If we have affirmative action, and it's going to increase lifting a group over another, affirmative action is going to endanger the values for which it stands for. Dear judges, this is the reason as to why it must be abolished. They came here through their first speaker, second speaker, they never stated a need. For that matter, there is no need as to why we should keep with affirmative action. They have not stated it, which means we have no choice but to abolish affirmative action. Dear judges, for that matter, I rest my case.